Aliens emerge from beneath the sea and invade the Nigerian city of Lagos in Lagoon. That's the book I'm reviewing on this episode of SFF180. Hello everybody, thank you for joining me once again. TMW here as always. Lagoon is Nnedi Okorafor's first novel for an adult audience since the World Fantasy Award-winning Who Fears Death in 2010. And in many ways it could not be a more different book. Who Fears Death was a dark, hellish, and emotionally draining saga of post-apocalyptic destiny that often recalled the epic dramatic sweep of Dune. By contrast, Lagoon feels like it was written with a light touch, even in scenes where the characters are embroiled in chaos and mayhem, and even the very breakdown of society itself. Now, some readers and critics have already commented that Lagoon feels a lot like Nnedi's response to the movie District 9, which is a story that also features the arrival of aliens in a major African metropolis, but which, rather infamously, depicts its Nigerian characters in, shall we say, a not very flattering light. Now, there may be some truth to that interpretation, but mainly, I think that what Nnedi wanted to do here was tell a story that celebrated the unique vitality of Lagos itself, which is a city of some 20 million people. And yes, it's a celebration that does not shy away from portraying the less savory aspects of the city, such as its street crime, the corruption of its politicians or of the Nigerian military, not even its infamous 419 email scammers. Now, one of Nnedi's stylistic hallmarks is that she structures the narratives of her stories so that events unfold in the way they do in legends or in folktales, so that even when you read one of her books that is set in the present day, like this one, it seems like fate has taken a hand in things ages ago. Now, Lagoon begins one night as three characters are drawn, as if by fate, to the same spot on one of Lagos's most popular beaches. One of these is Agu, a soldier, who is on the run because he has assaulted his superior officer. Another is Anthony, who is very popular, a hip-hop artist from Ghana. And finally, there is Nnedi, who is a marine biologist who's actually educated, she was educated in the West. Now, these characters come together and they are promptly swept up and out to sea by a wave where they experience a first contact with the alien ambassador, who then redeposits them on shore and then takes human form herself. And Nnedi gives her a name, Ayodele. Where these aliens came from remains an enigma, and their only stated goal is to integrate with Lagosian society. But before Ayodele even has a chance to announce their presence to the city at large, there are already individuals seeking to profit from their arrival. There's a wealthy evangelist sleazeball who wants to boost his fame by converting the aliens. There's also this very clownish gang of small-time hoods who thinks that they can just kidnap Ayodele and somehow wealth will just, flow as a result of this naturally. Now, when Ayodele finally does announce herself, basically by taking over all of the digital media outlets in the city, so everybody's smartphones, their tablets, their TVs, laptops, what have you, chaos erupts. And reality itself basically throws out the rule book. So suddenly, it's like a party at China Mieville's house. You have roadways coming to life and snatching up hapless citizens. You have ancient demigods and monsters just wandering the city. And then, of course, you have these shape-shifting aliens themselves who are sort of emerging from the surf like they're kind of a watery undead of some sort. And yet they seem more disoriented and lost than anyone. Now, this riot of anarchy basically lends Lagoon a quality that, more than anything else Nnedi has ever written, is akin to like a blockbuster summer movie, right? There's a greater emphasis on action than there's ever been before, but at the same time there is a kind of dream logic that permeates and propels everything. Because the way Nnedi sets everything up from the beginning, we have an understanding that there are elements of the strange and otherworldly that have always been present in the characters' lives, and indeed in the character of the city. In the way that New Crobuzon is a character in the novel Perdido Street Station by China Mieville, Lagos is very much a character here. And so this has always been an element of Lagos. We learn that from childhood, all three of our protagonists have possessed some kind of power that they aren't really able to explain. And this, in turn, explains why they were probably the ones selected by Ayodele, chosen for first contact with her. Still, Nnedi writes with a lot of wit, and she has a clear sympathy and affinity for even some of her less likable characters. like the Nigerian president himself, who is presented to us as the very personification of a leader who is too weak and diminished to take control when things get out of hand. The book also addresses the very real gulf that exists between East and West here. I mean, despite its size, despite its population, despite the vitality of its culture, I don't think very many Westerners, certainly not very many Americans, probably know a whole lot about Lagos. I mean, some people probably know that there's a great deal of offshore drilling that goes on just off the coast there, and that is also an element of the story here. But in the story, most Westerners, and certainly Americans, don't even really notice the alien invasion of this major African city until viral videos on the internet start to spread, right? And even then, they don't even really take it as if they are watching this turning point in human history. They just take it as entertainment. And the aliens here don't have any particular interest in any other place in the world apart from Lagos. In fact, they have come to Lagos simply because they feel this is where they fit in. Lagos has such a propulsive and quickly evolving culture that, as Ayodele puts it, she doesn't feel that the aliens' arrival is bringing change so much as it is accelerating a process that the city already is undergoing itself. A book literally unlike any other in the genre right now, Lagoon simply explodes with freshness, creative urgency, and above all, entertainment on every single page. There is not currently a US edition of this book for sale, but I understand that a deal has been made, although not yet formally announced, for US publication. And that's all I have time for on this episode of SFF180. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Remember, the most important thing, these are reviews. You will not always agree with me, but if you enjoyed watching, please leave a like, share this video on social media with your SFF reading friends, and above all, please subscribe and help the channel grow. And until I see all of you next time, happy reading.